Hi, good evening, and welcome to On the Line, the show that brings you empowerment, helps uplift the community, and also to inform you. Tonight we have with us two very special guests. But before I get into that, let me tell you how you can follow us. You can follow us on Facebook on the Line TV, also on Twitter at #WatchOnTheLine. Now, this marks our 6th edition of On the Line. This is a special show because it also marks the Mother's Day weekend. And in reference to Mother's Day, we wanted to honor our two guests as well as those women around the world who are mothers who have taken care of children, whether they were yours by offspring or not. Mothers everywhere need to be celebrated. So we wanted to do that today. And I'd like to say to those mothers who have lost their children to violence, happy Mother's Day to you anyway. To Miss Maxine Carter, my mother, I wish you a happy Mother's Day. Also, I'd like to bring our producer on, who has a very special tribute for our two mothers here today.
Oh, thank you.
Sitting with me tonight is Miss Azizah Nubia. Azizah. Miss Azizah Nubia. I'm very sorry. She's the co-founder and the owner of Natural Woman magazine. She's also the host of Natural Woman Fashion Show and the creator of the new online talk show, The Chat. Better check that out. She's a mother, and I told you a mother of 5 with a 6 man.
Yep.
So
5 just as newly 6.
Newly 6.
6 weeks ago.
Okay, that's great. Fantastic. Fantastic. So, Nubia, can you give us some background on who you are? Who is Nubia?
I'm just a regular kind of woman from Cincinnati, Ohio, born and raised here. Did a lot of, I guess, my adolescent years growing up in Nashville, Tennessee.
Okay. Okay.
Which I thank my mom for doing that because it taught me so much. Went to TSU, studied biology, and got into communications, which is totally opposite. But I started Natural Woman magazine with my best friend, Tamara Overton, in 2012. Well, actually, we created the idea in 200011 at her mom's kitchen table.
The best idea
The
started
best
at mom's
ideas
kitchen
start
table.
there while they're cooking,
Right.
and we're just sitting there writing everything down.
Right.
And we launched Natural Woman magazine in 2012. The idea behind it was to create a platform for entrepreneurs to be able to sell their products. And our clever idea of doing that was, let's put out some good positive information for people, and then with the information, advertise products. And it started off as something simple as an email blast, but as we began writing and building, it turned into Natural Woman magazine. So fast forward, it's 5 years now? We have over 100,000 subscribers worldwide.
Wow.
It has been a very empowering experience because our mission is to empower women to love themselves from the inside out. And the way you do that is eating healthy, being spiritually healthy, being mentally healthy, and being able to give back to your community in whatever way God created you to do so. So that's pretty much all I've been doing now, besides being a mother and just all the other things that I do.
Right. I had a question I've been dying to ask you. You know,
Okay.
your name is so interesting, and I know I mispronounced it. So say it with me.
Azizah.
Azizah.
Yes.
So I'm familiar with Nubian. Okay. So does this have a tie-in with Nubian, your last name?
No, it does not. Of course, Azizah, Nubia is not my birth name, although my mother takes credit for it.
Okay.
To this day, she'll say that she named me that at birth, and she did not.
Okay.
But it was, the name Azizah came to me during a very spiritual, transforming time in my life.
Okay.
Back in 2008, I was just, I guess, reborn to a certain extent, not from a religious state, but just more of a being aware of myself and my ability to create my reality. And so during that time, one of my favorite aunts, who has passed away, has been passed away for about a little bit over 10 years. I had a dream that she was calling me Azizah, and it woke me up out of my sleep. It felt like so it was just an odd dream, and I looked up the name, and it said the Precious One. And during that time, I guess people call it the Black conscious thing, but we all got to change our name, get away from the birth name, the man, and all that kind of stuff. Azizah clicked for me. I really felt in tune with that. And Nubia was just, I needed something to add to it. And I actually opened up an encyclopedia, and Nubia was there, and it just connected with me. So that's the name I have gone by, and it's been very successful so far because people don't forget me once they meet me because of my name.
And I was trying to connect it, and today I'm telling you, I was sitting in my office today, and I connected with. I said, okay, it might mean black woman or black queen. But you are a queen, so that's going to be my take on it. You know, black queen. And thank you very much for being here. I also wanted to talk to you about that clairvoyancy. Okay, and I read in your bio. Where you interpret dreams, you're clairvoyant?
Yeah, it runs through my family.
Wow.
It runs through your family.
Yeah, which is something I didn't know until I was grown. My grandmother, my mother, my aunts, we all have some type of spiritual gift. And I love my family because we're open with sharing it. But it wasn't until I got older that I realized how deep the gift was. I have family members who can do fortune telling, if you call it that, or prophesize. I even had a great grandfather who was able to heal people through just breathing on them. And so that's where that comes from. And I've been able to use those gifts and exercise them to help myself as well as others.
Okay, great. You know, my car notice, dude. What's the number?
Hey, if I knew that.
No, just joking with you. I'm sure that sitting around Mom's kitchen table, you know, early on, was this a dream that she had for you, or were there a lot of naysayers, you know, growing up in the community or around you? Some of your friends was telling you, girl, you can't do that. You know, but you know?
I don't know. It's kind of odd that I got into the publishing, and it's kind of crazy because I always say, as a child, you know what you were destined to do. And a lot of times as we grow up, we forget that. Because as a child, I used to always read magazines and write stories and take pictures, and I always saw myself interviewing people. But I forgot about all that growing up until it was 2011. And we were sitting at that table, and it just came. It was just something so natural. Now, when we started it, we had a lot of naysayers, a lot of haters saying, no, it's not possible. And then after we got into the second year and 3 year, nobody seeing millions of dollars, like, why are you still doing this? It doesn't make sense. Stop doing it. Get a regular job. But we kept pushing forward. And I'm still pushing forward, even 5 years. Like, a lot of times you don't see millions of dollars after 8 to 10 years of doing, focusing and perfecting your craft. But my take on it is being able to inspire people. As long as I'm inspiring people with my work and people are feeling that, I know that's what I'm supposed to do. So I would say it was a dream that I didn't know I had growing up. I didn't know that's what I was supposed to do until I got older, and everything started aligning and clicking.
Started coming into fruition.
Yeah, and it's super funny how everything is put into perspective, when I was in the 10th grade, I went to Princeton High School here in Cincinnati.
Okay.
And I just transferred from Nashville, and I needed one class to make my semester full or whatever.
Right.
And my counselor put me in desktop publishing.
Okay.
I didn't know nothing about desktop publishing, but if it wasn't for that class, I would not be able to run my magazine.
I know that's right.
just
So
being
your
put
steps
into
was
that.
already ordered.
It was
right?
already
It was
ordered.
already ordered.
Yep, I was
and-
the editor-in-chief of my high school newspaper, and it just gave me that foundation to do what I'm, because obviously I did not go to college for this. It's just all based upon
Natural
what I was
gifts.
supposed to do.
Right. I want to ask you some more questions, but I want to bring Sherry into the conversation. Then I'm going to get back with you because I know that you have a deadline to meet. So, Sherry, thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
It's an honor. And happy Mother's Day to you.
Thank you.
As well. Sherry Sims is Black Career Women Network owner. She wanted me to get that right. She's also a trailblazer. She's opened the doors to many big companies as their human resource recruiter. Such companies as AT&T, AOL, AT&T, Time Warner, some big heavyweights there. You kicked open some big doors, So, and you decided to take a leap of faith and jump into your own business, such as Azizah did. Can you tell us a little bit, first of all, who you are? Give us just a little brief background on who you are, and then talk a little bit about how you got to where you're at.
Well, let's see. First, I'm a mom, first and foremost. Everything I do is to show her what she can do and believing in herself. And so that she's will be 19 next month, so she's not a little girl anymore. So now I'm guiding her in another direction in terms of a young adult. But that's me. And look, I can't say her name either.
People call me AZ for short.
I would say AZ, like AZ. I'm just a regular, just a regular woman, just down to earth, and like her, had a vision, felt like what was a calling was led in a divine way to this, the journey that I took to get here, which started with creating a LinkedIn group in 2008 that I never thought that would turn into what it is all these years later. If you'd have told me that when I was creating that LinkedIn group that this would happen, I'd have been like, you're a lie.
Right.
It's not going to happen.
Right.
But I think the best thing about it is that during my journey in corporate America, I discovered when I left corporate America and went into working and doing nonprofit work as a coach, I realized that there were a lot of Black women like myself who have had challenges and struggles in the workplace, but felt like they're on this lonely island. So I realized that I wasn't by myself during this time, and so I really established a passion for wanting to help Black women in the workplace and really wanting to raise awareness about the issues and challenges that we have, and then how can we create solutions to change the conversation or change some of the perceptions about us in the workplace, and also the people who are responsible for some of the things that happen to us and what we experience in the workplace as well.
Okay, so can you just name a couple of those challenges that we were facing? You identified some challenges.
We can put a list. We can break that down.
Yeah, I'm sure we can, but just for our viewers,
just to be clear, is that when I talk to people, the first thing I say to them is that Black women have different experiences in the workplace, and I get this deer in the headlights look. Like, what do you mean? What is she talking about? Right. And we do. For example, our stress level for us to go to work is so different because we have to watch how we speak. We have to wear our hair a certain way. We dress a certain way because we do not want to be perceived a certain way. Because if that happens, then it can impact our work performance. It can impact the trajectory of where we're going in our careers and how we want to get there and who can stop us from getting there.
Right.
So we have this added layer to how we need to communicate. We also have to deal with bias and microaggressions when there's certain slide comments that are being made.
Right, exactly.
If we're being overlooked for promotion because someone didn't like how we looked.
Right.
Or what we said, or if we're passionate about our work and we want to justify what we've done, then we're making someone feel offensive, or they're threatened, or they're like, oh my God, I was so uncomfortable with what she said. And so we have to deal with those things on not always a daily basis, but there are some ebbs and flows throughout our careers where it's more heightened than other times. And it depends on the culture, the work environment, and the people who are in these influential roles who can impact how far we go.
Great, great. And I'm sure when you were about to launch your career, your new career, you know, I'm sure you had a bunch of folks that were saying nay to you as well, you know, because you had this lucrative career and you were such a trailblazer in your industry. And I'm quite sure that someone looked at you at one point and said, girl, you can't do that.
Well, if they did, they didn't tell me to my face.
Okay, okay.
I'm one of those people that, and I'm just going to say it like we said, I don't talk about it, I be about it. And so what happens is I don't share a lot.
Right.
And even if I do, if someone said you couldn't, it doesn't really bother me because I'm like, I know what's been given to me on the inside from him.
Right.
And so this is a purpose and a passion, a vision that's coming from him for me to share. So for me, it doesn't really matter. However, when I originally started the network and I changed careers from corporate to nonprofit, I had a boss that was horrible in the nonprofit, you know, the company I worked for. And she really was she had it out for me. And I knew it. And it was hard to prove. But at the end, of course, it was resolved. But what it did for me was really push me to that next place to say, you know what, yeah, I really need to get out here and let women know that they're not by themselves. And so I thank her for that, even though I really don't like her.
Right.
I thank her for that.
Right, that employer sounds like my ex-employer. And I'm sure that, you know, black men in particular, we have it difficult. And we have to have a particular persona when we go to the job site. We have to do that much more to stay ahead. And I'm sure there's that much more difficult for the black woman. You know, and we talk about stereotypes. We're talking about the black woman that goes to work with her hair in braids, or it's kind of kinky like, or nappy like, and you know they get passed over for promotions based on their look.
Yes.
What is it that, and either one of you all can, both of you all can answer this. What is it that you would tell a young black woman that's starting out in her career, maybe just graduating from college, getting ready to embark upon a career? What advice can you give her about loving herself and really putting her best foot forward? I'll start with you.
Well, I'm actually working on a 2-year project now called I Am Beauty. It's a documentary that focuses just on that point of for every woman of color to love herself and not follow what the media says that is beautiful. Because I say this thing, it's okay for everybody to be a black woman, but black women, because everybody wants to look like a black woman.
This is so true. Yeah.
You know, and so it comes to the point of you having to love yourself and learning that early on. Some of us don't get it because, for instance, little black girls, at a very young age, we are taught that we're not pretty unless we get all this stuff done to our hair. That's painful, and we hate it. I hated getting my hair combed, getting the press and curl, and the barrettes that were painful, and the little balls. Like, why the heck do I have to go through this? Why do I have to go to a beauty supply store to get things to make me beautiful?
Right.
Where you can see another little white girl, Latina girl, they don't have to go through all that. Their hair just grows straight down. They don't get barrettes put in their hair, and they probably ain't gonna step into a beauty store until they're about grown, because what do they need from it? And so I just try to tell any woman, you have to know yourself, be grounded in yourself, and you have to love yourself. And sometimes, as long as you're following that part of you that's inside of you that you know that's divine telling you that you're making those right steps, that's the main thing you have to listen to, because the world, everybody's going to say nay, unless you're looking a certain way and fitting into that box, but you have to be yourself.
Right, great. And Sherry?
Yeah, I mean, you definitely need to be yourself, and I think that, I'm a disruptor. So for me, I think it's important that we continue to be ourselves. We wear our natural hair, we wear our dreads, we wear our braids into the workplace because we need to change the conversation, change the perceptions, and allowing us to be more of who we are authentically. You know, code switching is something that we do a lot, specifically, and some of us as African American women do it unconsciously, where we are so consumed with how we look, and because we don't want the perception of being hood or ghetto in the workplace, or we straighten our hair because we want to look conservative. And some employers do want you to have that look, but it depends on the role that you're in and the industry and all those things. So you do need to take those into consideration. But I think that all of us should not come out of college, or if we go straight into the workforce, thinking we have to be that way. And so I just want women to know that you have the option. You can choose to go that route, or you can choose to be the naturalista or be who you are and still be successful, but be prepared and equipped for the conversations and being able to deal with the stereotypes and not internalize those things that can hold you back when you try to go forward in your career.
Right. And, you know, the title of this show is Keep It on the Line, right? It's on the line. And I've got to ask, you know, particularly coming from two mothers. You have one child?
Yes.
Okay. And you have 6. Now, today, we see our youngsters that are dying from these senseless homicides, you know, as progressive black women with children. What is it that you would like to say? And I'm quite sure that we've had these conversations around the kitchen table today about our youth that are out there dying at an alarming rate. You know, as two entrepreneurs, obviously successful, what type of message would you send to our young black females, our young black mothers, and our black children in particular?
Well, especially for young black mothers, because I had my first child at 16, and I think I beat the statistic because I didn't let that stop me for pursuing my goals. And so I feel that young black mothers need to know that your children should make you want to do better.
Yeah.
That's what my son did for me at 16. Because if I didn't have him, I know I wouldn't be sitting here.
Right.
And each one of my children, after I got married and had more, helped me to get to where I am today. So it's, you know, when you have your children, you have to make it your responsibility to do better for them because they are your legacy. You know, you want to, people always say raise your children right, position your children right. You know, that should be our focus because we don't think about those generations that are going to come after us. And that's why I think as black people in our community, we're not where we need to be because we're not thinking about our future generations, our children. You know, what legacy can we pass down to them? What wealth are we building for them? And so I would tell every young mother, your children should make you want to do better. Love them and then not let nothing stop you from doing what you need to do. Just because you have a baby, people think that's the worst thing in the world. She got knocked up, she's pregnant, your life is over. When I had my son when I got pregnant at 16, I hid it for 6 months from my family. My mother was not in the same state as me because she would have found out after the first month.
Mothers do.
They always know. But I hid it for 6 months because I was a basketball player and I was good at it. I would be in the WNBA probably. I was a straight A student and I didn't want to let my family down. And they make it seem having a child is the worst thing that could ever happen to you. And that's not true. Children don't stop you. They kind of make it a bit difficult because you have more responsibility, but that sharpens you and it should give you more of a drive to do the things that you know that you're supposed to do. So again, to wrap it all up, your children should make you do better. You love them and then never let that stop you from pursuing your goals.
That's great. Sherry, I'm going to get with you in just a second, but let me say goodbye to you.
Okay.
I know that you have a pressing engagement.
Yes.
But before you go, you know, would you like to tell our audience how they can follow you?
Yes, you can follow me, Azizah Nubia, on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. What else is out there? Google Plus, LinkedIn. Just Azizah Nubia, Azizah Nubia. And then you can follow my magazine, Natural Woman, at Ask Natural Woman. You can go to our website at asknaturalwoman.com, and we're everywhere. You can find us.
Okay, thank you for being here.
All right, thank you for having me.
Okay, Sherry, before you go, I'd like to ask you the same question.
Okay.
Okay? Can you go? You can go ahead. Hi, welcome back to On the Line, and we're here with Miss Sherry Sims. And Sherry, can you close us out with answering the same question that we just asked AZ before she left? And that is, how do you see our youngsters today? How can we, what do you feel about the gun violence that's going on in our community and how it's affecting our kids? And what can we do about it?
Well, yeah, it definitely is an issue. And I think that it also can create anxiety for safety. So, the parents have to get involved. I mean, there's a disconnection, I think, amongst what is really going on in terms of, what they see and how we were raised. We didn't have social media, we didn't have cell phones. All these things that they're exposed to so much more can create, to me, what I feel is anxiety disorders. Where it really can, where they, they don't have an opportunity for an outlet, and what the lack of opportunities for them to begin with. And then we're going back to dealing with the stereotypes, and they don't know how to overcome that. It can create a lot of tension in places.
Yeah, it can. And Ali Rashid was here, and we were talking about the PTSD among our community, among black children.
Yeah.
They see it every day. They're stricken by it every day. And also it happens in our inner city, period. Whether you're black or white, if you're in the inner city, you're seeing this trauma constantly. Over and over and over again. And we need to do something about it. So on Mother's Day, let's make a commitment to treat our kids better. Sherry, how can we follow you?
Well, you can follow me on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Let's see, where else are we on? Those are our biggest ones, Facebook,
You
Twitter,
everywhere.
I'm everywhere. LinkedIn. Our handle is BCW Network, and then my handle is BCW Network CEO. But we're all over the place on social media. You can just find us there all the time.
Okay, is there anything that we can get from you that's in writing? Do you have any books out? Do you have any other magazines that are out? Anything
I do have a book that I'm writing.
Okay.
I'm not going to share the title just yet.
Okay,
but
just give us a little bit of the juice. This is keeping it on the line now. We put it on the line
I'll give
here.
you a little bit of the title, but it's going to be, the last line would be about what every black woman in the workplace should know. I'll leave out the first beginning part of that.
So, cut me in. I'm quite sure our young sisters love to read that and get that information. We love you a lot. This is Britton Carter, and this has been On the Line. We'd like to get with you next week when we're going to have a great show for you next week. So we'd like to have you here. Now, we've got a great list of people coming up in the future, and we'd love to have you back.
Oh, I'd love to come back.
We'd
Yes.
love to have you back. We're looking for some of our city council members to come in and speak. Also, a couple of local entertainers. I'm going to keep that a surprise. And I have a local chef that's coming on. I just want to take this last few moments to really say some things to our community. Why have a platform if you can't address your community? Our kids are dying at an alarming rate. And I know you hear me talk a lot on our show about the gun violence within our community. And it's my belief that policing our kids is not up to the police. It's up to us. We can't be concerned about a young black life when it's not ours, and then all of a sudden be concerned about it when it hits at our door. We have to get involved. Years ago, we had the old adage about a village raising a village. We say this, and we say it in vain. We say it so lightly. We need to reclaim our communities. We need to reclaim our children. Yeah. They just want to be loved. They just want to be loved. I don't care about their pants being down. Teach them how to pull them up. Show them how to take care of themselves. Let's not degrade our kids. Let's embrace them. Let's love them. Let's nurture them. And let's teach them how to be parents for the future. They're our future, and we need them, and we love you. This has been Britton NewOne Carter, and this is On the Line.